Hello everyone, and welcome back to Gas Masks in Media, a short series where I'll be covering, identifying, and telling you the brief history of gas masks and respirators seen in movies, video games, and TV shows, and perhaps other iterations of media in the future. In this episode, we'll be covering a rather brilliant animation based off the book by Richard Adams, The Plague Dogs. It is very similar in tone and appearance to Watership Down, another work of Adams. Not including Shardik, because for some reason they didn't give that one an animation. Quite a shame, really. Richard Adams' work being quite gritty, gory, and unfortunately grounded in the reality of nature and the nature of humans, The Plague Dogs takes place in an animal research facility, which, if you've read the book, was amusingly acronymed. In the book it stands for Animal Research Scientific and Experimental. ARS. You can tell how he felt about them. Quite similarly, the appearance of the setting is much akin to the real-life Porton Down and other experimental research stations during the Cold War in Britain. However, the one here is much different, and actually I'm not even sure if it's based off a real one. Regardless, though, there is a scene later on where we can hear some scientists and other people talking about the local escaped dogs and the controversy surrounding their escape. And, of course, politicians discovering that they are carrying the plague, which leads to questionings about why the facility is testing the plague in a national park. But what we can see is a shot of a scientist holding up a rat and injecting him with some sort of vaguely deviant. What we can see first and foremost is that the scientist seen in the clip is wearing an S6 respirator, or to give it its full title, the SR6/2. It's the /2 model, because it uses a side-loading 40mm filter canister, as opposed to the SR6/1, or rather just the SR6, Service Respirator 6, which had no filter port and had a hose directly downward that led to a very large drum canister. What we can see as well is that he has a large silver canister on the side, which is a very thin filter, which appears to be a D843, or D/8/43. Now, the image seen here is actually almost entirely based off of the very famous photograph of animal research and experimentations taken at the real-life Porton Down during the same rough time period. Same filter, same mask, and still using the Mark II NBC suit hood. Now, for the time period, the animation making and the book being written, the S6 respirator would have been a very commonplace sight, not only in experiments, scientific research, and of course military operations, or even industrial action. So it is the perfect ideal mask and face of the faceless scientists. It really is quintessentially British for the Cold War. We do also know there are many variations of the S6, most of which rely on the filter attached to them. There aren't many variations in the facepiece. And the one seen here, the D843, was mostly used in atomic weapons research, atomic fuels research, or rather nuclear fuels, and other such nuclear energy industrial action. Other such variants, like agricultural variants, simply used the number 2 Mark I filter, the same as the military used, and we do have confirmation of that. So there's no real identifiable difference there. Other variants do include ones with the gold filter, the D17, the black filter, the D10, the short green filter, which also seems to say S6D17, but we're still researching that, possibly made by Helly Hansen. They're marked often with FENM, but as it happens, they might be 2 different variants as well. And of course the green S6D17, or FENM, which is simply particulate, which is very thin, much like the one we can see here, the D843. Anyway, that covers the respirator, the only one, seen during The Plague Dogs, a brilliant animation movie, which I really do suggest you watch, or if you're into books, I suggest reading it. It really is brilliant, especially if you're a fan of the English countryside and other such drama. It's an interesting one with a good ending, if you're a fan of M. Night Shyamalan. And of course, it has an S6 respirator, much like another animation I'll be getting into in the future. If you're an anime fan, you most likely know what I'm talking about. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all soon in the next episode. Thank you all.